All right. I think I got it all clicked here. I think it's on. Everything looks frozen. Am I frozen? No, I can see myself move now. Weird. Super strange. Hey, doll. Good to see you. Are you going to... Hello? Hello? Lester. Babe? Listen, you're not Whitford. You're not Whitford. Anyway, hey, y'all.
Take off my glasses.
Oh.
We live?
We're live. We've been live. Everybody's sitting here staring.
Hold on. I can't imagine that it's time yet.
It's time. It's definitely time.
Snap out of it, Lester. Hey, folks. Lester and Jamie here. Happy Sunday to you all. And I hope that those of you who've been following along on our Halloween skit are enjoying yourselves. Tomorrow is our grand finale. And boy, we put some time and some effort into it. And so for all of the critics out there, the 10%ers, the PPATs, just play. I'm only here for the animals, Lester.
Watch the PM videos or wait till Tuesday. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, tomorrow is our Halloween finale. And it's cute because I got a phone call yesterday from a number it was not blocked. You know how they can block your number. It just said, I forgot what it said.
Wireless
it
caller.
said wireless caller. And I'm like, I might should get that. And so I answered it, and it was a fella from Louisiana. Raymond, if you're watching, how you doing? It was a pleasure talking to you. But what he said was, Lester, is this Lester? I'm like, yes, sir. Who's this? Or this is Raymond. I watch your channel from Louisiana. I'm like, hey, nice talking to you. What can I do for you, Raymond? He goes, have you listened to your videos? And I'm like, have I listened to my videos? He goes, yeah, have you listened to them? And I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, I build them and I usually watch them before I upload them. He goes, but have you listened to them? And I'm like, yes, why? He goes, I heard, me and my wife, we was watching 2 of them and we heard some little girl. There's a little girl in your videos. And I seen that on a number of comments as well. And it just goes to show that there's a lot of folks that don't know how we do it every Halloween. So we go ahead, talk.
Well, okay. So even before the page and before all the videos, Lester Morrow is the king of scary stories.
Man, I've been doing this with my classes for as long as I can remember. Y'all, and it ain't nothing about you're devil worshiping. No, I'm not devil worshiping. I love and I grew up hearing scary stories from my grandpa, then my dad. And so I carry on that oral tradition of storytelling. And just so happens that during the month of October, I tell scary stories. And like Jamie said, we've done it with our children long before social media. So all you've done is given us a chance to actually make our scary stories into movies. And we've had a lot of fun doing this. But if you're somebody who's like been confused, because normally Lester only videos Carl, and now he's videoing himself in some days down by the river. I don't understand. Lester's been drinking.
It's these dang glasses every time.
Lester must be doping up. No, we're having fun, and we're leading up to our big Halloween spooktacular, which comes tomorrow on Halloween. While we're on the subject, and I know you haven't had a chance to talk yet, you're gonna get your talk.
You didn't even say, "Hey, folks."
I did. I said, "Hey." I did do that. As soon as you snapped me out of my trance, I instantly said, "Hey, folks, Lester and Jamie here." I did do that. And so, listen, I want to also show you. Oh my gosh, I'm almost embarrassed about this one, because there was one particular video that I thought was a really good video, but the comments were consumed by, I'm going to guess, possibly folks who've endured a little bit of verbal abuse in your time. And the reason I say that is because as a part of our skit, it ended up triggering a lot of reaction out of you guys. And a lot of the video was lost in that because people didn't realize that we're playing a skit. And so let me play you the portion of our video that sent people into a frenzy. Y'all ready for this? This is the portion of our video that sent people, I don't want to say everybody.
Somebody says, "Oh, that video."
Here we go.
You are not Mr. Whitmer. You are Lester Morrow. Lester Eugene Morrow.
I'm doing what I've been called to do.
All right, let me pause right there and tell you, first of all, you have no idea how hard this was for us to make this. We went, this was probably, you know how they have cut, 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 cut. How many cuts did we have on this particular scene? About?
I would say at least 20.
Man.
And we were giggling so hard that we couldn't do it. And Lester has a book that he's slamming down on the counter. And like, I'm laughing because I'm watching his face. So I had to look the other way. And then I wasn't yelling loud enough because we don't yell. Like, we don't yell. And it was actually, the outtakes are outstanding.
I had to make her yell. She's like, "You're not Whitford. You're not." And like, "Jamie, yell at me." "You're not Whitford." I'm like, "Jamie, yell it. You're not Whitford." And I'm like, "Jamie, pretend like there's a fire. How would you scream fire?" And she says, "Fire?" I'm like, "No, scream fire." And I made her, I had to teach her how to scream. And anyway, so bottom line is I kept in our, we'll talk all about the debrief after tomorrow's finale. But this here was a part of our scenes, y'all. It was a part of our acting where
Which
Jamie,
is terrible for the record. Our acting is absolutely atrocious.
we will never win. No, we're never going to be invited to Hollywood or Broadway. No, this is about as far as our acting goes right here. But she was accusing me of finding myself hallucinating. Every time I got down by that cabin, I became Mr. Whitford. And so she told me, "You're not Mr. Whitford." So in my deep Southern voice, "I'm Whitford. I'm just doing what I've been called to do." Anyway, let's play out the rest of this video. What do you say?
I was going to say what was funny is that each scene, his accent would change and he would not realize it, which made me laugh harder. He went from like Texan, Southern, to
Mississippi.
Then he went to Mississippi. Then he became Cajun.
To Cajun, boy. And then I was like British.
Yeah, I was just going to say, then British. And each time his accent would change.
I'm not a Southern lady. Or I was all over the place, y'all.
I couldn't yell because I was laughing too hard.
So let me finish this scene and then we'll talk about our past Halloweens, okay?
You are not Mr. Whitmer. You are
The dog's like,
Morrow.
"Go sit down and watch this show."
I'm doing what I've been called to do.
What I've been called to
There
do.
ain't nothing to snap out of.
Pull yourself together.
I know who I am,
You're Lester
and I know what I have to do.
Here comes my watch.
And I'm running out of time. I'm running out of time.
Oh,
Okay.
what a mess,
Let me
Morrow.
stop this and hide this one over here. Every year, we always enjoy doing a Halloween presentation, but we don't want to just do it in one video. How boring is that? So what we do is we put what they call Easter eggs. We put little Easter eggs or like little snippets into the videos leading up to the grand finale. You remember our very first Halloween? Bigfoot. So you want to talk about it? How did we start off and then where did we end up?
So we started off with Bigfoot out in the pastures, except it was so far out that no one saw it. No one saw it. And so there were like probably 3 videos that led up to it that
Bigfoot was right there and you never saw it.
Lester's like in Bigfoot costume trudging through the wet fields in the morning in the fog and all kinds of stuff. And not a soul saw him.
So we learned that wasn't going to work, but we finally made Bigfoot more obvious. And then our grand finale that year, we actually chased down Bigfoot. We had my nephew Elijah was dressed up in Bigfoot. We saw him in the woods. We chased him down. We caught him as Bigfoot. We tied him up to the side-by-side and brought him back to be our newest rescue. And that was cheesy and it was goofy, and no one was upset with us for doing that. There was no one complaining, but there were a lot of people that were convinced that there really was a Bigfoot sighting here in Plum Grove. And so we knew then that people, I don't want to say gullible, I'm just going to say that we're so good at what we do. We are so good at what we do that we can make people believe it.
Well, I know there's a lot of people that do believe in Bigfoot, so I'm not. This isn't
No.
a mockery of that.
We're not mocking Bigfoot. I believe it. I believe there are Sasquatch, y'all. I believe that big time.
But for us, like there wasn't any here, so we had to create something for Halloween. The same way that Netflix and Hollywood gets to create movies, only it's more on a like.
They have a budget.
I would say ours is more like a dollar store budget.
Yeah, they have a budget and they have paid actors, and
Yeah.
we do it for free.
Yeah.
We do it for the love of entertainment.
Yeah.
And so then in year number 2, we had just got our pond dug. And so we created this story of the pond dweller. And there was this mysterious and long extinct creature that was showing up in our new pond. And we had found bones, and we had had different people, members of the family, play different roles, like a scientist who was examining these bones and was shocked that this thing was still around. And
Y'all killed me off in that one and didn't even bring me back. You sent me to the hospital and that was it. And
that was a scary thing is, in one scene, we actually had Jamie, the swamp creature, the pond dweller, flipped her out of the boat. Me and Ellie never knew it, but many of y'all saw it, and you were so upset that we let Jamie die because it showed. We heard the ambulance noise, and we heard the doot doot.
Yeah, today I'm still in the
Her
like as far as they know, the ambulance was on the way, but nobody has pulled me out of the pond.
No, our grand reveal, our big reveal was the entire family had made a human chain. Our entire family made a human chain, including Maggie. Maggie was there too. And we all worked together, and we just could not quite reach you.
Yeah.
And if you remember, the pond guy shows up, which was actually my nephew Dustin.
Yeah.
And here he comes, looking all buff and coming over the hill. And I put some romantic music. The pond guy come and gave us one extra hand, and we were able to grab Jamie and pull her out and save her from the pond dweller. And then last year,
the shadow people.
Ooh.
That made the mysterious noise in everybody's video that everybody thought, boy, that's weird. And people thought we had cougars and barracudas, and I forgot what else.
Yeah, there were all kinds of things. But what you kept seeing all over the place were these strange, shadowy figures in the background. And so we did that for an entire week in Jake's video. I think Jake caught one in a trap. And we had shadow creature fun up in the barn. There was one in the barn. And we just always Easter egg ourselves in there somewhere where you don't actually see it unless you're really a really close watcher and you see something in the hay or something in the woods, and you would catch a shadow creature. And so then, of course, we had our big finale for that. And so this year we obviously took our talents to Longhorn Lester's. We have some new talent involved in our Halloween show, our neighbors, Miss Pat. And you'll find out a whole lot more tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want to give that away.
The mystery shall conclude tomorrow.
I'm curious how many people think they already know how this is going to end. Is there anyone in the comments who would want to tell us how you think this is all going to end? Who do you think the killer?
Oh boy.
I was going to say, how do you think this will end?
Okay.
Jamie's trying to put who is the killer.
I want you to tell us who you think the killer is.
So how do you think this will all end? How do you think this will all end? I'm curious if anyone wants to share their ideas. If you've been watching, don't just come up first time you've seen a video in a month and say, you're going to dance in shadow costumes? No, we're not going to dance in shadow costumes.
Miss Pat takes you out.
Someone thinks that Miss Pat is. Miss Pat, I guess, is who they think is the killer. Oh, come on now, Judy. We're talking about Halloween.
Oh.
Judy, we will get to. I haven't even thought about Christmas yet, Jamie. What's this over here say?
Miss Pat's the antagonist.
Oh, you're a genius with the videos and the story. It was well thought. The fact that it started out, we forgot about that. The very beginning was me talking about this girl named Judith in my sleep. Jamie, we forgot about that.
Whoever Judith was, you're saying your name in her sleep,
We
singing
think that,
about her. And...
So this Facebook user, ooh, that's mysterious in itself, thinks that Miss Pat is the mama. Here's another one. Miss Pat is the mom.
Ooh.
Hold on. Lester pretends to hang himself.
Oh.
Lester? You mean with my glasses on like Whitford? Whitford pretends to hang himself? Carl. I can promise you, Carl is nowhere to be involved. As a matter of fact, let's jump from there. Let's go ahead and jump out of there and jump into Carl. Can we jump into Carl?
Okay.
Guys, I got some video of Carl.
Face.
Give me a second.
It's because I got that egg.
Uh-oh.
Someone is not happy with me. Look at that face. It's because I got that egg. And I'm doing him a favor. I'm going to walk it over to the nest. But he is very, very unhappy. Look. I'm doing you a favor, buddy. Look at that. It's kind of neat watching these birds, watching animals in general. Hey,
here we go.
You gonna be a mommy again? I don't know if we should hatch eggs or not. I just don't know. Should we go through all that again? It's so fun watching them. It's so fun watching babies. Watching Carl be a good daddy, and oh man, that was fun.
What are you laughing about?
The comments about some of the things that might happen.
Oh, you're still talking
Oh,
about...
I'm sorry. That was an outstanding one. It just says Jamie leaves Lester in the pond and drives home.
Enough of this already. Okay, so listen, so we can't help but talk about things that happen around the farm or around the ranch, Longhorn Lester's. And you all, if you follow the channel Longhorn Lester's, that's on Facebook and YouTube now, Longhorn Lester's with an S, you will know that we have our ostriches are laying eggs. They're laying eggs. And those eggs would be fertilized. Trust me, they're well fertilized. And so now that brings up this great dilemma. I like to call it a discussion. I like to call it a discussion rather than a debate. It's just a discussion, because we have time to consider what we're going to do. But I would really like to see what you guys think. So if you could stop talking about the Halloween skit, and let's focus on the fact that we have eggs being laid by our female ostriches. They are fertilized, and those eggs are being nested by Carl. So Carl has built the nest himself. The mamas didn't do it. The mamas have been laying eggs anywhere. And it's Carl, y'all. Carl is the one trying to get the eggs over towards the nest. And I could see that Carl was very upset this morning when one of the birds laid an egg out in the middle of nowhere. And
It
Carl,
kind of surprised her. I'll just say that.
Carl's like, Carl's face was like, what are you doing? The nest is over there. How am I going to move this thing?
Wanda's like looking over her shoulder like, what just happened?
Yeah, what
and just
was
like
that?
kept on walking like no big deal.
And Carl's like, hey, the eggs go over there in the nest. So I had to sneak in and snatch that egg from where Wanda laid it and walk it over to the nest, which was not easy. It required both of us to distract Carl. We had to get some goats involved. But it does bring up a good question. And we've talked about it just based on I think I've touched on it in a couple of videos. But I don't know what to do. We could take the eggs and you could literally just give them away. You could go to the gasoline, the store, the local store, and say, who wants an ostrich egg? And they would go like crazy. We're not going to sell anything. We're not looking to have people come out and spend money and give us money for eggs, fertilized eggs. We don't want to do all that. But it really boils down to, do we want to allow Carl to go through this again, sitting on however many eggs they end up laying, hopefully hatching a few more of them? And if we're not going to let them hatch, then we should probably remove them as fast as they lay them, so that he doesn't get into that broody stage, where all he wants to do. So when you say skip a season, that's not like it is with dogs or mammals, y'all. You don't have to skip. Chickens don't skip seasons. Chickens lay eggs. So if you mean wait a year for Carl to fully recover, but Carl's fully recovered. That happens naturally. Carl he had depleted himself pretty bad back before the babies, but we were shocked at how fast his body bounced back, which we shouldn't have been shocked because every time the geese or ducks or chickens lay eggs and they turn broody and they sit on them, they all kind of like wither up to like little old munchkins. And then they snap right out of it whenever the babies hatch and they get right back to full health, as did Carl. So I don't know. Can you read what anyone's saying? It's going so fast.
There's a lot of. I feel like it's the same conversation that you and I have had. There's a lot of yes and no's and the whys behind it.
That's always important for a why. I think the whys are the most important part because that helps us, visualize and think and process what you're saying. If you just say yes or no, I've only said yes because I love babies. But that's not, we all love babies, but that's not really enough for someone to go out and have a baby. You need to really talk and think about why it's best to have them or why it's best not to have them. Because as of right now, we're only a couple of days in to the nesting. And
Carl is not broody yet.
Carl's not broody yet. No.
This isn't like full on disrupting, Mother Nature or anything like that. Like this is the time to make the decision.
Yeah.
Can I say my opinion? Is that where
no,
you want to go?
Yeah, no, by all means. We all have an opinion.
So I think no. My vision is that there's 7 ostriches. And if we were to have more males, that there isn't enough space or separation of pastures to be able to facilitate that in the same amount of time long term. Not now, I mean long term. And I feel like we have enough ostriches. Like but I know that you love babies. I know all those things. And I also know it's like forever going to keep happening. So I guess for me, it's not now.
So a lot of people I'm seeing it over and over and over. And you keep saying arms family, arms family, arms family. Guys, I'm going to tell you I'm going to paraphrase the exact conversation that I had with Daniel. And Jamie and I were talking, and we felt really bad about sending Sue by herself. And we also know that Oklahoma is still dealing with the drought. But I was talking to Daniel, and I says, Daniel, whenever we do decide to send Sue up, we were completely willing to go ahead and send little Charlie, along with Sue. And that way they would have a partnership, a pair. And Daniel's exact words to me were, to be honest, DJ's not really into the ostriches.
She's very, and when we initially started talking about this, they had, I think, a baby donkey at the time, and then got a second one right around that same time, and then later on had acquired more. So DJ's focus has changed because she's found something that she loves, and that's perfectly acceptable. We would never want to put an animal somewhere where it's not, I don't want to say not wanted, but where it's not something that the humans would enjoy caring for as well. And with the drought as well, there's nothing green for them to eat, and they right now they're in a good spot.
Yeah. So ultimately, I've promised those ostriches or that ostrich to Daniel. And if at some point Daniel says, you know what, we'll go ahead and take her or that pair, then I'll by all means load them up and drive them up and drop them off and visit. And Daniel better cook me something to eat while I'm there. So that's my only ask is that Daniel makes me some dinner, because Daniel can cook. He can barbecue, and I love a good barbecue. But I think that Jamie's right in the fact that our ostriches kind of get used to human interaction, which is what we do daily and multiple times throughout the day. And I kind of think that even though an outsider might not see yourself getting inside there and messing with them and feeding them and playing with them and hand feeding the grapes, the tomatoes, and all of that, but it is intriguing. Once you start, it's really a draw. It's like an attraction in itself, and you can't help but be drawn to the ostriches. They very social. And when you walk out into the pasture right now, Carl is a little bit aggressive, so we don't go out with Carl. But if you walk out with the babies or any of the mamas, y'all, they come right to you and they're as social as any puppy, as any dog that you've ever had. And they just want to be close. It's a little bit overwhelming because you're not looking down at your puppy. You're looking up. You're looking up at them. And they're so big and these little heads are all over the place. And they're not being mean to you. Even when I've been nipped in the ear a couple of times, that was never Wanda being mean. That was never, they play. They just play. And unfortunately, my ears bleed. If you pick my ear, it's going to bleed.
No, they're very social, but it is intimidating, especially if you get in and you're surrounded by them, because all you have to do is do this and they will move.
You
like
touch their necks and
nope, and they're out of the way.
Not the neck.
But it's very much like they're all, here and here and here and here, and they go after your nails. They go after
anything
your earrings,
shiny,
anything. So if you aren't familiar with it or comfortable enough to be able to go like this, then it can be very intimidating. So we understand completely that they're not for everybody. Heck, I will be the first to tell you that when Lester said, come outside, and there's an ostrich in my backyard, I just had no words. I didn't even know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I'm like, what are we going to do with an ostrich?
Yeah.
There's an ostrich in my backyard right now.
Yeah. Happy birthday. Anywho.
That's what happens with all things that like are a little bit on edge. Lester's like, but it's a gift.
Yeah. So that is still open, and that's up for discussion with Daniel. If Daniel decides that he and DJ and I think that Houston, which is Daniel's youngest son, would want the ostriches, and now we can send them as a pair so they would have each other, because it seemed like a lot of the biggest concern is sending Susan off by herself.
Yeah.
And so we thought that's true. You're right. They are social. They do they want to have a herd. And so we can send them off together. And then for anyone who's saying, wait a minute, that would be a brother and sister. They can never mate. And that's, guys, I'm sorry, but birds are not mammals. And that rule of thumb does not apply to the bird kingdom. Even though as humans, we're like, we're not doing that. So let's not start that discussion right now. But that really is up in the air for Daniel and DJ to decide.
Well, plus, they wouldn't. Nobody's doing this to breed or anything like that. So like it's not like a baby is born. It's an egg. You just take the egg away.
Yeah.
So,
So it's up to Daniel and DJ. But for all those that keep asking, isn't Sue going to the Arms family? That we're strictly standing by and waiting for Daniel to say yes. And if he doesn't say yes, then we are completely content to have them running where they're running now. We have them in our big pasture. And the cutest thing that they do is every day when I have to leave, they take off running down the driveway right along beside me, and they open their wings and they just run. And I'm driving and waving at them like a weirdo, and they're just running and show me how fast they are. Not out of fear. They're running alongside the truck
for fun,
just for fun. And I love that. But anyway, we have other things to talk about that have to do with Longhorn Lesters. And believe it or not, Jamie, can you slide over a little bit? Slide over. Do y'all notice that something is missing? Something that we've had sitting there, you might say laying there for the last week, is no longer there. Is that it right there, baby?
Temporarily no longer.
Temporarily. Is this it right here?
Yeah.
Y'all
Jealous.
so jealous. There.
Fifi?
Fifi just wants love.
Fiona, a good girl.
Loves to hang out with her daddy.
Freak out. We're going to tell you about it. Hold on.
And
Stop
jealous.
So jealous. There. Oh boy. Boy, oh boy. Look how big Fifi is. She already stands a lot taller than.
Hey, she stands even taller than Millie.
She sure does. Millie's like, why are you wearing leggings?
Yes.
What's up with the leggings? Where do I get a pair?
They're doing so good together. Oh, Dad.
Oh, I'm So talk about this a little bit, Jamie.
So Fiona took a visit yesterday to Longhorn Lester's. We spent the night in the camper. We knew that Fiona needed some mental stimulation. And when I spoke to the surgeons and the vets on Friday and asked, can I bring her around the other dogs yet? And they asked how she was doing. We sent a video over of how she was walking, and we're still following the strict rules of 5 to 10 minutes at a time and a certain regimen during the day. And they said, it's week 2 at home. You have to be the judge of how your dogs are going to react to her. So we went slow and did it through the door first. So she can't, I'll make a video about this, but she spent some time in the camper. They were able to reconnect and smell, make sure there was no threat. And then a very casual introduction for a few minutes and then a few more minutes. And don't worry, she's inside the camper while we're not there. We came home to do chores here, to go live, that type of thing. And Fiona is still on sedatives during the day. So she's very groggy and sleeps quite often because they want her to rest. She needs to rest. But they did not want her to spend 8 to 12 weeks without seeing her siblings, because the longer that they're apart, the more difficult it would be to get them back together. But also her mental status needs that stimulation and interaction and her friends, her herd, basically.
So and I don't know exactly, but there's probably a better way to say this, but my biggest concern were the other dogs jumping on her. But we've been letting Fiona out here, and she's been the only dog here for the week. And so her trips around the yard had been every single day. She spends more and more time. And each time we go out to take a potty break, she spends more time. Her exploring is getting further and further. And so we knew that taking her to Longhorn Lester's, the only difference would be the fact that she'd have to deal with the other dogs. And so we were very careful when we took her out of the car. But you know what? I was very impressed that both of the other dogs, pretty much. Well, but here's the thing. Ritzy is different than those two.
Yeah.
Ritzy, when she's Jamie's beagle, is just kind of like so old. She's like just whatever. I don't care. How you doing?
She's never going to jump. She's never going to do those things.
How you doing? Welcome back.
Yeah.
Like,
but these
like
two
the
are
leggings.
These two are spazzes, okay?
But but Mildred there and Trixie are kind of spazzes, if you will. And we were afraid they were going to jump on her and want to play, but they didn't. They both walked up to her, excited to see her. Trixie more than Millie. And they could see right away. They could just so intuitive. They could sense or they could smell that she wasn't 100%, and they completely respected that.
Yeah.
And so they did very well. They did very, very well overnight and this morning. And so we did give Fiona her sedatives. We drove over here to do all of our feed up, and we're going to go back over there in a little bit, and we'll spend another night there. And she's doing good, but we're real happy that she's doing so well and that the other dogs are so accepting of her. And like I said, the biggest thing that Jamie said just now is that we are very much within the limits of what we're allowed to do. We're not trying to push it. We're not trying to move things along. We're not trying to speed up the process. We know it takes time to heal, and we know we can only give her so much exercise or movement on her leg per day. And we're following, trust me, guys, I can't get anything past her. I'm following all of the doctor's orders. Promise you that.
No, it was really good for her mental status, though, because she's anxious, right? So any dog that's used to being outside and having free roam and the physical capabilities to do so, that's now confined to 23 and a half hours a day. And that other half hour is in 5-ish minute increments throughout the day, is going to have some things here that prevent the healing internally. And I say the physical healing and mental healing. So we knew that she needed some positive interaction and just a little bit of normalcy.
How many people during COVID you were going just insane by not having any stimulation in your life? Me, I'm one of them. You are too. It was hard when the world changed and we found ourselves with no stimulation, like no stimulation. Is that the right word?
I think interaction.
Okay, interaction. But it's been difficult. And so we could see that Fiona was acting depressed, like she just wasn't happy, just sitting here all the time, all day, all night.
And it was different smells, different noises, all the things. So bringing her back to Longhorn Lester's, the very first thing that I did, and you'll see in my video, is I put the other dogs up and I let Fiona sniff around just on her own. so that she knew, like, hey, this is home. And her keep in mind, the last time she was there was when the accident happened. So there were some things to overcome with that. And then I gave her a break for a few hours, had to switch places, and then after a while allowed them to interact through the door, and then a few minutes in person when Lester got there. And honestly, it went better than I thought it would do, and I was nervous, but it was really good. Even this morning having coffee, everybody, as you can see, wanted love instantly, but later she laid down there on the tile floor, which was cool because it was a cool morning. I think that was also very good for her. And everybody else was out doing their thing kind of around, and she was just watching them, and she was so content and at peace. It was nice to watch her sort of like take a breath, I guess.
I got some real mean people on my case today. I just had to ban one of them. If Jamie's not sitting right here beside me telling y'all exactly her reasoning for doing this, and I am all of a sudden, I'm just such a guy that does whatever I want to do despite all what the vet tells me. So that will be the last we'll be hearing from you. You're welcome to watch the videos, but we're not interested in any more of those kind of comments.
Somebody just said, how's Waylon adjusting? Let's talk about Waylon.
We have 2 more video clips to show you. 2 more video clips to show you. This is going to open up a lot more discussion, because in this particular video with Waylon, I ask a question. And I'm trying to incite a little bit of interaction here. I'm trying to get some interaction going, but I want it to be friendly. Can we just be friendly? Here we go. Watch this.
Guys, he's looking really good. So this is day number 2 with Waylon. Guys, he's looking really good. We don't want to put him with our cows yet, our other cows, Uncle Moo and whatnot. But Jamie and I are going to put him out of this stall and into the pasture with Annie. Annie, Ernie, and Indy. Because he keeps jumping up, and we're afraid he's going to get his legs hung in the railing. And we don't want little guy to hurt his legs. And that would still keep him kind of quarantined away from the other cows for a couple of days. But the good news is he ate every bite of his grains. I just now filled those.
And he's back over here eating again.
He also ate almost all of his flake of green hay. Jamie said he's over here eating again. I just refilled his food. He's eating again.
He's a hungry boy, Dad.
He drank a lot of water, and his poop looks good. I know that sounds dumb to a lot of people, but his poop looks good. As far as healthiness goes, only moms would get that.
Listen.
Only moms would get that.
He doesn't have a runny nose.
No runny nose.
Looks good, and that's how you judge a kid.
Anyway, he's very, yeah. So tell me how you think he looks as far as his handsomeness.
I think he's beautiful and sweet, and I want to snuggle him so bad.
I'm going to ask you a question. I need you to be honest. Is he as pretty as Santoro?
Oh boy, here we go. Okay, this is where we have to, Jamie, this is where I'm worried about this, okay? Listen, we're asking the question, do you think that Waylon is as handsome, or I'm sorry, ladies, pretty as Santoro? So I took a little side-by-side on here. Now, listen, let's not forget that Santoro he's 2 months older. So Santoro is 6 months old. Waylon's only 4. So you got to remember that if you're looking at size or muscle development, you're looking at a little bit of an age difference here. But look at the 2 cows as far as their markings, as far as whatever else you can judge them by. And I'm really curious if it was a beauty contest, or if you were an FFA judge, which of these 2 bulls do you think looks the more attractive?
And you can evaluate it in different ways.
So I love his different markings. I love his 3 dots on his forehead. That looks like he has like a bear claw.
A bear claw. I was asking yesterday about could anyone see anything in his patterns.
And I love his leg patterns, especially his back legs and where his hips are.
Well, look at this. He's going to say hi to the camera. He's saying hi to everybody. He's like, hey, folks, I am Waylon.
He does have a J on his butt back here, upside down.
A J?
Yeah. So maybe I love him more than Santoro.
Am I messing with you? He wants to eat, and I'm over here videoing.
Like, I don't know what you're doing.
All right, I'll leave you alone. Mr. Hank, this is not about you right now.
All right, so we're going back
So,
to that. Right, let me
look
find
at
that
that.
little clip where I have the side by side.
As Santoro. I was asking yesterday about could anyone see
Okay.
anything in his.
All right, so what are y'all thinking? So I'm curious of what your thoughts are. You guys do know that Santoro will be going over and becoming a member of Jake, my nephew Jake's herd. We've given Santoro to Jake to be a part of his herd. We're going to keep Waylon as the bull for our herd here at I'm a Survivor. We'll keep a small herd here and we'll have our small herd at the other property. Of course, everyone knows that we use our cows to help maintain our pastures. If you didn't have cows or horses or donkeys or goats, then your pastures would grow up on you and they would just be infested with weeds and all kinds of stuff. So we do use our animals for management purposes. But when it comes right down to it, I'm really curious what you guys are saying about the two bulls.
I gotta be really honest. I see a whole lot of Waylon.
You see a lot of
I
Waylons.
see a lot of Waylon
There's
boats.
some Santoros on there as well, though, and they're going so fast on our end. Now, you guys are only able to see the comments on whatever platform you're on.
All I know is that I can sing a song about Waylon, and I can't sing one about Santoro.
You don't know a
there's
Santoro
that.
song?
I got nothing in that.
That is true. There is a Waylon song.
Which
Is it
makes me-
Lukenbach, Texas?
Yeah.
Can you sing it to us? Because me
Oh
and
my
Jake
gosh,
tried
really?
yesterday.
No, I'm not gonna embarrass myself like that.
So if anyone's interested in the long video, I did get it scheduled to play on YouTube today, YouTube and Facebook today. And I believe they're both going to start at 4:00 p.m. So as soon as this live is over, you'll be able to jump on to Facebook or YouTube, I'm a Survivor Sanctuary, and watch the actual long video of and it's a fiasco, guys. I'm gonna tell you right now, it was a fiasco. It was not easy, and I've had ice on my shoulder all day because of the workout that Waylon put us through yesterday. So it was a lot of fun. Jake was a big help, and anywho, so those are the two bulls. And now listen, they're too young to fight. If you're sitting there concerned about these guys fighting the way that Tex and Billy would fight, they're way too young for that. That will not start until they're old enough to have an interest in girls. And the fighting will only come because they're in competition for the girls. And so as of right now, there's no girls to be in competition for, and they're not old enough to know about girls anyway. If anything, the only fighting that might be will be a simple push or a shove to get to food. And we've already seen Santoro push and shove quite a bit, both Jolene and Annabelle, because he wants the food. And that's kind of a boy, kind of a bullish kind of a thing.
I was just gonna say they learned that from Uncle Moo. Let's be real here, because
Yeah,
Uncle Moo
Moo, horrible uncle, horrible.
Yes,
horrible.
Uncle Moo is a food thief. Okay, he's like the food tester for everybody, and he's that uncle that's like, here, let me see if it's okay for you, and then eats everything but one bite, and just ridiculous. But that is where they learned that food stuff from. So
yeah. So
now that song is in my head like crazy. I can't stop singing it in my head.
So I do have one last thing for you all that I just thought was cute. It doesn't really apply to anything that we've talked about. It's nothing Halloweenish. It's nothing with Longhorn Lesters or I'm a Survivor. It's alpacas. We've not seen and focused on the alpacas in a while. Listen, things have come up, and even though we have this beautiful little Indy sitting out there, we find ourselves videoing things that are like, at that moment, we have all of the surviving I'm a Survivors have come up, and there are so many things. There's been 3 teams here already.
Oh, I've been recording Indy.
You've been doing a lot of Indy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've seen a lot of comments saying, "What's going on with Indy? Where's Indy?" And people haven't seen much of Indy. And so I just recorded something just now before I came in the house to stick on here for you, just to show you how cute Indy's doing. And she's being very playful with her mom and dad. And I want you to watch this, and we'll talk a little bit about it.
Move, Ernie. Whoops. What did I just see? What's going on here?
She's getting really big.
Yeah.
Monkey see, monkey do. I just saw Annie rolling around in the sand, and now Annie's like, well, if Mom can do it, I can do it. And he's like, let me show you how to do it, sweetie. And he's like, this looks like fun. I want to play too.
Get up, Mom. Get up.
She's messing with her mom.
I know.
He's biting her.
Amy, that's what I look like when I try to get up too. It's okay.
Watch this.
She's very playful.
Watch Annie.
Uh-oh. Annie's mad.
She's mad at Ernie.
Yeah.
Ernie did nothing wrong.
No,
Annie, let her play with her daddy.
She's like, don't tolerate
She
that.
spits all over him. Ernie's done nothing wrong, but he gets spit in the face twice.
She does not want Ernie to spend any time with his daughter whatsoever. Annie,
Ernie.
be sweet.
She has a piece of hay in her dang mouth too.
Yep, she's funny.
Oh,
Boy.
Amy.
She looks
Talk
like
about a helicopter mom. That is what they call a helicopter mom right there.
Yeah, that's a helicopter mom. for
Sorry,
sure.
Ernie.
And he's like, what do I even do? I just was sitting there.
So it's been a eventful week. We've had a lot going on with our Halloween fun, and just there's a lot going on at both properties. We've been babysitting one dog, which means that we've had to divide and conquer quite a bit, having to make sure we get everything taken care of. We're blessed to have both Jake and Ellie help out a lot. We have Brienne fill in on occasion when we need help.
Even Ben was here and
Ben.
dog sat.
Even Ben, yeah, I always forget Ben, but yeah, Ben does so much more than what people realize for us. He one day, Jamie and I had to go somewhere together, and Ben stayed right here in the house for several hours and dog sat. He's dog sat, and he walked Fiona outside a couple of times, gave her meds, and so that's good what Ben does.
I feel like that we have a newborn, even though it's not a newborn anything, but we can't typically leave her alone for too long unless she's in a very confined space, like, the camper. Like up until this moment, there's been eyes on her 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So this is also our first outing without direct oversight. And we're 2 hours in, and I'm like, we gotta go back. Like, I can't wait.
Yeah, but we doped her up, so we know that when we give her meds, and one of those meds is
It's a sedative.
a sedative, and so she is just nothing
She's
but
out.
looking. Hey.
I also put a blink camera on her, so I've been stalking her like a good mom does on a baby monitor and just watching her sleep, and she hasn't moved. So
Someone's asking about Team 3, so we have not played that yet. That plays next Sunday. We announced that it would play on November the 6th, would be the day that we announced Team 3 and what they did. However, they have come and gone. So we've been keeping that project a little bit of a secret, and you will see how that went and all of that, and you'll meet that team on November the 6th, which is next Sunday. And then we will also have that team live next Sunday during our Sunday Live. So I will say that it's been some really neat stuff going on with Wes and Angie, which was Team 2. They have moved to their new home. They are getting everything set up, and they seem to be doing very well. We want to thank you guys for helping them grow their pages. They were able to get their YouTube and Facebooks up to a number to where now they can monetize their videos, and that's going to help them a lot with bringing in the additional side hustle. You call it a side hustle. It's not enough to live on, but it's a good side hustle. If you don't mind making videos, you don't mind taking the time to edit your videos, and you find an audience who enjoys watching your videos, and it's a great side hustle. There was a scare. It was a great video, but it was quite the scare with Crandall and Marcy. You want to talk about that one?
yeah.
That was Team 1.
Yeah, so Team 1, Crandall and Marcy, I've been keeping up with them. And if you have, they had to scare Marcy with her twins. It actually broke my heart. I was sitting last night watching and crying and just felt so bad for them because they have one vehicle and they live an hour and a half away from the specialist. And Marcy went to the specialist and had an issue where she had to be admitted to the hospital. And poor Crandall was at home with their older son. And it just, you have to watch the video to know what happens. But I felt so bad. But I giggled a little bit because here's poor Marcy having to go from the doctor's office to the hospital, and she's in the truck and she's making a video to tell what's going on, and she's in tears, but she's also hungry. So
yeah, I've been there.
in true pregnancy fashion, and especially pregnancy with twins, she's like, I'm not going to the hospital without eating. I'm gonna go get something to eat first. So she did give me a little giggle in there, but I want to say, please pray for them, and
Well, keep both teams in
Yeah, I
your
was gonna
prayers
say,
because it's a struggle, y'all. With both teams are going through such life
big
transitions,
yes.
and a life transition is not easy. I got an email from a very sweet lady yesterday that said, "Could we think about, saying a prayer for her mother, who's probably not going to come out of a she got in COVID, and she's probably not going to come out of it." And I says, I'll certainly, I'm no more in tune with, religion and God than anyone else, but I would like us all just to remember people. And the teams have been great for us and done a lot for us, but there's people out there that could use your prayers and your thoughts. And Crandall and Marcy for sure, Wes and Angie. And I can't wait until we can bring you guys Team 3 and showcase what they did for us here at I'm a Survivor. And that will be next Sunday. So you'll have to wait a week, but that gives us time to build our videos, and it gives them time to build their videos. And then when we showcase them, we'll give you a chance to visit their page. And if you like what you see, you stick around. You become a member of their social media family, like you've done with us and all of us here on Morrow Hill. And but hey, it's not everyone's cup of tea.
No.
It's funny to me, I joke. And this morning, Jamie and I were taking a walk down by the river with the goats. And Jamie and I were talking about, it's Sunday, so we talk about the Lord and Bible stuff. And I was telling Jamie a scripture that I had talked to Ellie about yesterday. And this one particular part of the scripture says, I preparest a table for thee in the presence of thine enemies. And I says, Jamie, what do you think that means? Why would the Bible say, and I believe David wrote that. I'm not sure, guys. I'm not sure. I don't know. But it does say, I'll prepare a table for you in the presence of your enemies. And I'm like, because why would I want to sit around and have my enemies watching me eat? If the Lord's going to prepare me a table, why do it in front of my enemies? And so what I got out of that is, because if you have people that don't like you and you have these enemies, by seeing that you have a table set and they can only sit and watch, is like heaping coals on their head. And that's the way I translate it.
And I translate it totally different.
Okay, let me explain myself real fast first, though, because normally when you have an enemy, someone that absolutely hates your guts, and we have a lot of them on the page. We have people that hate our guts. So I would call, even though I don't dislike you, there are people that have learned to dislike me. So they would, in fact, consider me an enemy. I would, I like you fine. But I feel like this is my table. The Lord has prepared me a table. I'll just say social media, the platform is my table. And he's prepared this table for me to eat in the presence of those that sit around hating, screaming, and hollering, and fist raising, want to stop yet stomping their feet, and they just can't stand what Lester does. And yet I sit and I eat, not literally, figuratively. I eat. And then that's what I thought it meant. And the Lord does that. Despite me having enemies, I don't have to spend all of my time consumed with all of my enemies. Instead, I'm at the table eating. Let them enemies sit there and hate all they want to, but they're watching me eat. And you had a different translation. And I love man, who knows what anything means? Who knows what anything means? What were you thinking?
So for me, I just interpret it as like it's a test, right? So are you able to sit down and break bread with those amongst you and work out your differences? and I felt like it was a test to forgive, to forget, but I don't know what surrounds it. I grew up in the Catholic Church. We don't really read the Bible, and
That's not true. Is that really true?
that's pretty true.
I do not.
That's pretty
Not is the word condone.
true.
I did not condone this message.
Listen, okay, so from my personal experience of Catholic school from kindergarten to 12th grade and religion every day and church every day, that's my experience. It's like reinterpreted into whole different things, and we don't look. Me too. I agree,
I know.
Jamie. I agree.
No, everyone's going to always agree with you, Jamie.
That's not true.
Oh no, they are. They're going to always agree with you. That's why I just put on these glasses and I just zone out and I'll just go back to somewhere where I'm wanted. I'll just go back to where I'm.
Can I tell a
home.
confession? Can I confess something right here?
Please do, but do
Do
I?
y'all see those circles on the sides? So that is the ring light that we use to make sure the lighting is right for these lives. And when Lester put these on in the beginning, and he was like, he puts them on and he
I'm
goes,
like, stop laughing. Settle down. Stop laughing.
we were late to this
Be
live
serious.
because of this guy right here and that, except for that's better. But when you look,
Yeah, that's the worst right there. Please do not screenshot that and send it to us if we don't want it. Do not send that in a picture frame because it's not going to hang anywhere around our home. Okay, I can promise you that. We laugh and we move on, and that's what life is all about, y'all. It doesn't matter how you translate whatever scripture or if you even know the scripture to us. We're not big on stuff like that. It was just something that me and Ellie were talking about, and I was thinking about it, and I'm like, So for all of the haters, and every social media page has addressed the haters at some point. Some call them Karens, some just call them haters. I don't even know why the haters watch. I have no idea why
you
they
know what's
watch.
funny though? Like
What?
to take it beyond the social media, like let's just go back to the beginning of our childhood, right? There
Okay.
was no internet. There were no
No.
cell phones. But we all still had haters. There were people that not everyone loved everyone and was just like ready to hang out with them. Like everybody has a preference. I just think that social media now has given a voice for people to say those things because it's not face to face. Normally you would just go separate ways, right? Unless it was like some dramatic middle school stuff. But in real life,
No, so here I'll make
Yeah.
an admission. So there was when I used to coach, there was this one coach that I always thought was kind of like I wasn't the head coach, I was an assistant coach, but there was one head coach and there were a lot of assistant coaches. And I guess I had some hate in my heart, some animosity in my heart that this one assistant coach seemed to have really good repertoire with the head coach. He got whatever he needed from the head coach, he would get for his squad, for his team. And whenever he would win, I would feel this little bit of like, I would check the scoreboard. Even though I wasn't at that particular game, I would always call to find out how this particular coach did. And whenever he would get beat bad, I would laugh to myself. And whenever he won, I'd be like,
So you're telling me right now that we're living your karma?
No, what I'm saying is, you're right. We've always had haters. And I'm sure that there have been people who've hated on me the same way, even before. That was long before social media.
Yeah.
And so now social media makes it to where
You're reading it instead of
I'm reading it
feeling it.
instead of so yeah. So I think that we all do have a little bit of hate inside of us, and I'm embarrassed to admit that now. And
You should be.
if I could go back in time, I would probably feel differently because I've experienced what hate feels like. You know, heck, they burned our dumpster, Jamie. They burnt our dumpster. Someone lit up our dumpster. They hated us. They hated you.
Yeah, that's me.
They didn't hate me. But they lit the dumpster to show how close they can get, Lester. That's how close I can get, Lester. I'm like, wow, that's pretty scary. But that was a long time ago. Hey, but it's almost 4:00. That
We
means
gotta get back to my girl.
we got to get back to Fiona, and you guys got to go looking for that video if you want to find out. Wilding out with Waylon. I think that's what I called it. Y'all know what wilding out means, right? That's a term that a lot of the kids use, the younger generation. Wilding out is when they just go buck wild. We call it buck wild. I don't know what you guys called it in your day because we're 10 years apart, but
No,
buck
wild.
buck wild, man. You just go buck wild. You don't give a darn. You just going buck
You
wild this
want a
weekend.
confession from me?
Oh no, do I?
Until a few years ago, I thought it was butt wild.
Butt wild? Hey girls, let's get butt wild this weekend. They're all like, "What, Jamie? You're sicko. Jamie, be a lady." Well, y'all don't want to get butt wild?
Do you want to know how I found out?
How?
I was voice texting and it corrected me.
Oh no. Jamie, talk about that. The iPhone update.
Oh my god.
What's going on with the iPhone update? I know we're boring everybody now, but this is important. Everything that I voice text is coming out wrong, is trying to auto-correct me, is putting punctuation where I don't want it. It's really trying to change the way that I'm a language arts teacher.
Yes, but
I
things
know
have changed.
punctuation.
So things have changed grammatically that we didn't know had changed. And I know we have to go, but just a few more things here. Number one, you don't space twice after you put a period. And both of us text grammatically correct. So we're like, what are you doing? Question mark. And I have to stop and get groceries, period. And all of a sudden, it doesn't space twice. It doesn't do that like it normally did. And even when I'm typing emails, it'll do something to correct me. I'm like, no, that's not right. Like the comma after the second thing before the and. So if I say,
do you want pork and beans? It puts a comma.
no, do you want bread, comma, pork, comma, and beans? I mean, it's not pork and beans, it's pork
and beans. It's just, it's trying to change everything that we say. And I know what I want to say, and I'm not able to read what people are saying to me. And it's not just us, because I belong to a couple of group texts. And in those group texts, people are all like, everyone's confused. Like, what in the world? Because we're all voice texting, or it's auto-correcting for us. And if you don't actually proofread it, then you're all like, you sending all kinds of gibberish to people.
I sent some awful things this week, and it wasn't on purpose. It was, I said it right. It even typed it right. And by the time that I got my little thumb over to the send, it changed it. And I'm like, that's not what I said.
No,
and here's the worst one. I do a lot of texting for work, correct? You know? And when I type yes, it changes it to yeah. Y-E-A, and it makes me so mad because here I am.
Not being professional.
Yes, yeah. I'm like, if you know, Jamie, can you do this? Yeah. No, not what? Not yeah. Yes.
So I don't know. Anyway, what have we become? What kind of a third world country are we, Jamie? When we can't.
I'm gonna start calling people instead of texting now.
Oh no, we're gonna start calling again. Well, I got a phone call from Louisiana yesterday, and I met Mr. Raymond. And I'm hoping he's watching today. That was awesome. Guys, we got to go. Enjoy the Halloween special tomorrow. Go right now and watch You're Wilding Out with Waylon. And you'll see what a workout he gave me and Jacob. That was fun. But thank y'all for having us. It was a pleasure spending some time with you guys today. And there'll be more to come. So I hope y'all enjoy the Halloween stuff. I really am concerned about that.
Yes, please put on your entertainment only purposes
Entertainment purposes only hat.
Yes. And then you want to sing us out with your Let's Go to Lukenbach, Texas, Willie and Waylon and the boys. The successful life we're living's got us eating like the hat.
Feuding like the Hatfield and McCoys. Feuding. We're feuding, not feeling. Feuding.
Between them, Hank Williams Payne songs and Newberry's train songs and Blue Eyes crying in the rain.
The end now. I don't know the words.
Go to Lukenbach, Texas. Ain't nobody feeling no pain.